Welcome to this week's episode of Your Stock Request for the 10th of January. Hi, I'm Michael Gable, Managing Director of Fairmont Equities. Your Stock Request is a weekly video where we take your requests and analyse the share price charts. So this week we're looking at Brambles, AGL, Challenger and Galaxy. So if you have a request, send it through. Please share this video on social media. If you haven't already done so, make sure you sign up to our free newsletter. And just remember, any advice here is general only. So looking at Brambles to start with, this is looking quite positive. So this is a weekly chart going back the last 2 years. We can see that it spent most of 2017, 18 sort of building this base. And then in around August last year, we had a breakout. So a very clear breakout there, ran up. And now it's come back. So as you can see, it's retesting that breakout near $10, and now it looks like it wants to head higher. So the other thing to notice is this move up was very impulsive. So we can see that from here to here, it rallied in 4 weeks. So this is the weekly chart, but to get back to where it started, it obviously took a lot longer than 4 weeks. So that's a positive. And if we move to a daily, we could see this consolidation here. Now it's starting to kick up. So it looks like we're getting a bit of a breakout out of this range. So Brambles is looking fairly positive. Okay, the next one's AGL. So we'll look at the weekly chart. Obviously the performance has been very poor, from $28 down to about $18. But then in the last few months, when the market decided to get sold off, AGL decided to head higher. So look, that is a positive. However, we can't deny the fact that it is still within a downtrend. So we've got these lower highs, lower lows. And I think just based on, potential, this is a bit rough with the trend lines here, but you'd think that it'd be coming up to some resistance now. And we may well see some, this is the daily chart, so we may well see some money coming out of AGL after the good run to be put into something else down at these levels. So the next one's Challenger. We'll move to the weekly chart. So also hasn't been doing too well in the last year, so quite a bit of underperformance compared to the market. Now, one positive is the divergence. So if we just stick with this weekly chart, I'll zoom in. We'll notice that sort of from around April to where we are currently, there's been a clear decrease in the share price. But you'll notice that the weekly RSI has actually trended higher. So that actually bottomed out back in that sort of April-May period, and is at a higher level. So that divergence, just put a line there. So that divergence where this goes down and this goes up usually leads to a bit of a bounce. Better to see it on a weekly chart than a daily chart, which is what we have here. So potential bounce coming up for Challenger, but I think $10 is going to be some key resistance. We could see a bit of price rejection from there in the past. So I think that would be the real test. So if I was to trade it, I'd prefer to see a move through $10, and I'd like to see it hold, and that would give me a bit of comfort that this thing is going to bounce. Just have to keep an eye on that resistance line though. So potentially one to watch, but if it doesn't bounce, obviously it still looks pretty negative. All right, moving on. Finally, we have Galaxy. So lithium, all the rage. 2016, 2017. Anyone that's tried trading it in 2018, I think, has been late to the party, unfortunately. So on the weekly chart here, beginning of 2018, big reversal. It's quite a negative candle. When we get these big negative candles, what I then want to see is how it's trading immediately after that, compared to the range of the candle. In other words, we usually look for a midpoint. So if you get a big negative candle after an uptrend, if the shares trade within the bottom half that's a negative. If they can sort of get back into the top half, maybe not so bad. But you don't want to see something confined to the bottom half. And as we could see with Galaxy, not only was it confined to the bottom half, but it was confined to pretty much the lowest point of this very negative week. So this, I guess, was the first signs that this thing just can't catch a buyer. And obviously it's fallen away. So weak price action, and also you'll notice that here was support, failed through that, and then it's had quite a few attempts to get through it at the end of last year, and it just can't do so. So the overall picture, unfortunately, for those who like the stock, is still negative. It still is likely to get cheaper. Shorter term, there'd be a bit of resistance here at 250. So it's had a good few days, but I think it'll probably get close to 250 and maybe start to turn around again. So at the moment, I just can't see any signs that it wants to head higher. That could all change in a few weeks, of course, but for the moment, it still looks negative. Well, that's it for this week. If you have a request, please send it through. Make sure you're signed up to our regular newsletters, and make sure you share this video on your social media.